Well, hello. It's time for another exciting episode of Pens in Use. And it got pretty exciting because I was filming along. And then I found out that I never turned the camera on. So I have a good 20 minutes of audio. And I gotta do it over, but I'm doing it over for you. So here we go. So what did I say? Pens in use? So let's dive into it. If videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens, both new and old, and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And hey, met any goals? I just met a big one, which I'm going to tell you about at the end of the pens. We'll talk a little bit about Memorial Day, and we're going to talk a little bit about a rabbit hole of research that I went down. So, let's dive into it. These are the pens that I've been using this week. I had a brief moment where I totally forgot the name of this pen, so I had to look it up. But anyway, the pens I've been using this week are Pilot Custom 823, Pilot Custom 823, Parker Duofold, Miyuki Magic Wood Pen from Stanford Pens, Kaweco V16, which is a sport from the 1960s, an Aurora style, a Parker Frontier, and the one I couldn't remember its name, a Loft Pens Winchester. As always, I'll be doing my writing sample in this Cognitive Surplus Theory notebook. Alright, so the first pen on my list is this Pilot Custom 823. This one is the one that's the smoke color, so it's a demonstrator. And it's, transparent, but it's gray. It has a broad nib on it. And it also has the last of its ink in it. So this is a Pilot Custom 823. I saw Goulet has for sale a transparent one of these with what's called a signature nib. I've always wanted a transparent one, and the signature nib looks good. We'll see what happens. I may or may not. That is not how you spell gray. Gray does not have an O in it. I may or may not. We'll see how I'm feeling maybe about the time school starts. I haven't filmed the talking part of this, but we're going to talk about some money stuff when I get to the talking part. But anyway, I like this gray. It's not the gray I'm going to settle on as my gray. And I'm going to have to place an order to somebody to buy that gray ink because, this is the last of my gray ink. I like how it shades. I like its look. Some grays have like too much yellow in them or something. This one, the one I like, is a blue gray. So, anyway, this is an old favorite. This is a Pilot Custom 823 again. I started using this at the end of the school year. I have it inked up with Omas black. This one has a fine nib in it. Okay, there may have been a few drops of the gray left over, but I just thought, why keep it? Because there wasn't enough to fill a converter. I do have enough of this to fill. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be using Omas black all summer. The bottles are nice because they're faceted, so you can tip them on the side and get ink out of them when they get low, rather than do what I do with some of my ink bottles where I'm holding it. I got the pen down as far as it'll go, and I'm doing my best. Kind of like the very last one you're going to see today. Sometimes I will put them into either a sample vial, or I will put them into like a traveling inkwell, like a Piniter or a Visconti. Alright, this next pen, is that too bright? I'm trying to decide. My next pen is a Parker Duofold. This is indeed a Survivor pen. This one was a bugger to fill. This was, speaking of the Peniter traveling inkwell, that's what this ink was in. And yeah, there's several milliliters left of this ink, but I can't get at them. So, putting that down the sink too. But when I say several, I mean like single-digit milliliters left. Maybe I could put them into a sample vial. I haven't dumped them yet, so I might do that yet. But anyway, the ink, although I'm embarrassed by a wealth of ink, so it's not like I need to. But it just feels good to get 2 bottles gone. Especially that it happened so quickly there. Whoops. Now I don't know what an English is. English roses. Oh, you didn't even see that. I apologize for that. But anyway, this is a nice ink. Apparently, actually, I'm going to be talking about Memorial Day toward the end here. I guess Nathan Tardif had something in mind about Memorial Day with this ink. Or poppies. Maybe it was poppies. So it might have been Veterans Day. But anyway, it's supposed to shade very dark and then be red. He used to do these really long videos about like one ink. Hasn't done that in a long time. This here is my Stanford Pens Miyuki Magic. That's the magic, I guess. Let me just quick look up the spelling on that so I don't make a fool of myself. Too late! Yeah, and this is another ink I'm trying to use up. I did have to... there's a little plastic insert that's supposed to make it easier to fill your pen. But that really doesn't work for these really super shallow Sailor nibs. Or, I'm sorry, these super shallow Sailor bottles. Now, Sailor has quit using them, from what I understand. So, no great loss there. I feel like they're smaller now or something. I can't remember. I haven't really been ink shopping, so forgive me, I'm a little out of touch with that. That makes me a bad reviewer. Not keeping up on current trends in fountain pens. This makes me an out-of-touch reviewer. When I started teaching, I vowed I was not going to become that old out-of-touch teacher that doesn't know about the music the kids are listening to and what movies are cool and all of that. And guess what? This next pen is a Kaweco V16, so it's from the 1960s. It is a pocket pen. It's the Sport. A piston-filling pen, as you can tell. Takes forever to use up ink in this pen. Mainly because of that extra fine nib. This ink... I'm hoping to have this bottle used up by the end of summer. We've got Akkerman, Groenmarkt, Smaragd, which is a very nice green, a very natural looking green. Now, some green inks, I mean, I like the color green, but you look at some green inks and they're very artificial looking. I mean, ink is basically artificial, but they look it, and this one doesn't. I like how this one looks. One of my favorite greens is actually Parker Quink green, which is no longer made. since I've used up this Noodler's Black Swan and English Roses, I'm now finishing up my bottle of Noodler's Black Swan and Australian Roses, which you'll see it at the end of this video. This is my Aurora style. Oh, I hope it comes out when I edit this as well as it looks on my preview screen right there. I mean, like, the color is actually right. So, snap cap. Nice little steel nib. It's got some feedback, but not too much. It's just a good feeling pen. Good looking. Mine has a broad nib on it. And my ink in it is Herbin. Bleu Myosotis. Put the flower on the other line. So, fun fact, this is actually in an Akkerman bottle, because it came in a god-awful heart-shaped bottle. But anyway, yeah, the bottles that I like, because somebody asked me about this in the comments, bottles that I like are often used to rehome other inks that come in god-awful bottles, or else, you know, they're good bottles for when an ink gets low. Although you've seen me on this very channel pull out an ink, start writing with it, and say, oh, that's not the ink I thought it was. Awkward! So that's a drawback of doing that, but I think a good use of bottles. Otherwise, you know, they're glass. I guess some brands are plastic, but mostly they're glass. They can be recycled. This is my Parker Frontier. I had some comments about this one recently. Some people really don't like it. Parker is not a... You know, when people are like, well, here's the exciting fountain pens out there, Parker doesn't usually make the list. So this is a Parker Frontier with a medium nib. And the ink in it is one I like a lot. Lamy Turquoise. A bottle which, when I do empty it, is going to get reused. Probably when it finally comes time to replace my turquoise, you know, when I use up everything turquoise in my collection, I will go back to this ink. It's well behaved. It's awesome even on low quality paper. And it looks good. Plus I like the Lamy bottles. Alright, and since I am recording this a day late, it's June as I record this, even though it was supposed to be the last day of May. I guess this is an appropriate pen, I just realized that. But, yeah, I reviewed this not too long ago. I can't remember exactly when, but sometime this spring. And this was one of my splurges over the winter. I just really wanted that finish. I saw that pen and I fell in lust and had to have it. So this is a Loft Pens. Oh, I must have had a little piece of dirt or something in that. Winchester. I can't remember if it's a broad or a double broad. Just says Bach on the nib, so we'll go with the broad. This isn't the best pen I've used for this ink, but it isn't bad. This is Noodler's again. Black Swan. In Australian Roses. This is a very nice shading purple. It's one I might be tempted to purchase if after I use up the bottle. You know, with this brand, you know, there's always inconsistency from one bottle to the next, so who knows? But I'd certainly think about it. But anyway, those are the pens that I've been using this week. So, let's see what my face looks like. So those are the pens and inks I've been using this week. surprised there's only one vintage one in the mix. Reminded myself how much I enjoy the Pilot Custom 823, and I had two, what would you call them, bespoke pens? Anyway, nice mix. I have my piston filling Kaweco there. Yes, there's a new one out, and I have successfully managed to avoid temptation to buy it. So, why might I consider buying a pen? I've met a milestone. Time to celebrate. So, here's what happened. I get paid on the 20th of each month. I don't think that's giving away any private information to tell you that. And when I get paid, my thing is, after school's over, I go in, my bank's website, I make my house payment, and then I sit down and pay all my other bills and get that out of the way and go on with life. So, went to make my house payment, and I got an error. Well, my bank's website has problems occasionally, so I just thought, okay, we'll just come back and do it tomorrow. Still an error tomorrow. Third day, still an error, and I said, okay, something's up. I don't move money to my savings until the end of the month when I'm about to get paid again. So I just thought, well, let's just move a few $100s and remember that you did that so you don't accidentally bounce a check or something at the end of the month. So I moved the money. No problem. No errors. Couldn't make a house payment. So I thought, well, that's enough of that. So I called the bank and asked them what's up. And took a while to communicate what was going on with them. But they finally understood and they said, well, we're going to have to investigate that because since it involves a house payment, it might have something to do with our other branch. Because they have two buildings. Both are on Main Street. One building is where you do all your savings, your banking type stuff. The other one is kind of like the corporate office and the loan department and stuff. So I said, okay. I waited, it was a good 45 minutes to an hour. They finally called me back. So the reason I couldn't make a house payment was because I only owed $100 on the house. It was showing quite a bit more than that. I don't want to get into specific dollar amounts other than that $100, but it was showing quite a bit more than that, which I'm still not totally clear as to why. But anyway, the reason I couldn't make the payment was because I was trying to pay off more than I actually owed, even though the website was showing a totally different amount for what I owed. So they said, how about we'll just transfer that $100 and some that you owe, and we'll mail out the paperwork in the morning. So I own a house. I own it. The bank can't take it away from me. I own this. 672 square feet, and it's all of them are mine. So that is a good feeling. I don't know if it's totally sunk in yet, but I've had people saying, "What are you going to spend it on now that you've got this money?" Because it's kind of a significant raise. I mean, it's not really a raise, but I'd be elated if the school gave me this much extra money a month. So yeah, I've got that just because my house is paid off, and honestly, I don't really have any plans for it. I had thought once, well, maybe I'll buy a pen to celebrate, a crazy pen to celebrate when I do that. That urge isn't there. I've said I want a dragon pen, but I'm just going to wait till my YouTube dollars accumulate to this dragon pen I've got my eye on. I've thought about new furniture, because the furniture I have is what I got when I started living on my own and teaching back in 1999. Except for some of the bookshelves are new. But no, don't have any desire to do that. I mean, I need to. I will probably do that at some point. But I want to make some plans for my life before I spend money on new furniture. There's a big part of me thinking, wait till I retire, or I'm close to retiring, then buy the new furniture, because then I'll know what my goals in life are. And then I'll have this nice new furniture and won't have to worry about it through my retirement years. So that was a possibility, but I'm not planning on spending there. I'd like a new camera. Not this camera, but the camera I use at school. But I don't need one. And don't really want to spend the money on one, so I'm not going to do that. So I'm not to the point yet where I'm going to like bump up my retirement investments with it. I would like to just pad my bank account, crazy as that may be, but maybe it doesn't make financial sense, but it makes emotional sense. Just want to pad my savings out to the comfortable level that they were at before I bought this house. And then we'll see. And it's just nice, though, to know that that money is there. And I'm done making payments on the house. Will I have to do tax payments? Of course. No, actually, because North Dakota, this might tell you something about my house. North Dakota is doing a $500 property tax credit this year. Maybe not in the future, but for this year. I won't be paying property tax this year. The state, if it worked this way, which of course it doesn't, would actually owe me money. I know what that says about my house, but that's how it is. I will be still having to pay house insurance and all that, and that just goes with it. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to have that done. So that was a big weight off of my shoulders that I didn't even know I was carrying around until it took a few days for it to really set in, and I'm like, I'm free. I'm totally free. So, enough on that topic. So, 48 years old, and yeah, I just said enough on that topic, but I'm 48 years old and no longer making a house payment, so that's good enough for me. And I'll tell you something personal now. I can, excuse me, I can retire at the age of 60 from teaching. Will I? But that's kind of the minimum age, because they've got this rule of 90 years of service plus age, but also you have to be at least 60 years old. Can't collect Social Security for quite a while after that yet, and I'd get more in my teacher pension if I wait, so we'll see what happens at that point in my life. That's 12 years away, 11 years away, I guess, because I'll turn 49 next year. But anyway, it's just good to know. I thought about buying new furniture, because like I said, I've had this furniture since I started living on my own in fall of 1999. And some of it's getting in kind of tougher shape. But no, I'm going to wait. I don't know if I'll wait all the way to retirement, but I kind of think it would be nice to do that. And then buy some furniture when I retire, a little before I retire. And then I'd have that furniture to live out my golden years. I don't want to buy new furniture while I'm still trying to figure out where those golden years are going to be. In this fully paid for house, or am I going to go move to another state and take on a house payment again? So, anyway, that's exciting. This week we had Memorial Day, which for my viewers outside the United States, you probably don't know about that one. In a lot of countries, what we in the U.S. call Veterans Day, which takes place on November 11th, the 11th hour of the 11th month. Wait, I missed one in there. The 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, which was when hostilities ceased for the First World War. Back before we knew we had to number our world wars. A lot of countries observe Veterans Day. They may call Armistice Day or Decoration Day, or they'll have different days for it. I don't think Decoration Day is one of them. But there are several days for it. So it's likely, especially if your country was involved with the First World War, that you have that day. Here in the United States, as Veterans Day, that's a day to honor everybody who serves in the armed forces, living or dead. So everybody is recognized. We have Memorial Day, which began kind of in the wake of the Civil War. Memorial Day is to commemorate those who have died in the service of our country. In 1971, it was turned into the last Monday of the month. Before that, it had been observed on May 30th. Why May? Because in a lot of the United States, that's when the flowers are blooming, so people can decorate graves with them. In 1971, it was moved to the last Monday of the month of May. And sadly, to a lot of people, it has become a 3-day weekend. And the meaning of Memorial Day is kind of forgotten. There was a bill passed, I don't remember the year, it was during the Obama administration, to have a moment of silence at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on that day to remember veterans. I don't know if that's observed very widely. My town does a Memorial Day program. I was involved with a Memorial Day program in a different community, and not a lot of people go to them, which is, I don't know, it's a little sad. We like to talk the big game about how we honor our veterans and those who've served, and just to have a simple observance for them is, can't take out of the weekend to do that. And I know some people have to work and all that, but when I see businesses advertising Happy Memorial Day or Memorial Day sale and things like that, it's just kind of, ew, don't do that. That is not what Memorial Day is. It's not a happy day. Now, yes, part of the ceremony I went to did involve visiting and socializing, because we are celebrating the freedoms that all these veterans who died for our country have given us. So I'll just tell you a little bit about the ceremony I went to. It's out in the country. You've seen the building in one or two of my videos, but it's out in the country. Usually there's some speakers, a couple of songs get sung, like America the Beautiful and so on. And we had a speaker from the local veterans office. We try to get either a veteran or somebody associated with veterans. And then we walk out to the cemetery that's out at this rural location, and all the unmarked graves get decorated with a flower. And then the veterans' graves get decorated with a flag. And all the veterans' graves have an iron cross on them. I was, sad but glad to see one of my former students who was killed last summer is buried there now. And he was a veteran. He'd served in the National Guard. But I was glad to see he had an iron cross at his grave. And of course, his was heaped with decorations because it was recent and his family all live around here. But anyway, then we walk back and we have our potluck. So it's a pretty simple, nothing fancy with it. Play taps while we raise the flag at the cemetery. And that's about it. So that was our Memorial Day. So I don't want to leave on quite that downer. So I just was going to mention this rabbit hole I went down, which I think is going to turn into a driving video. But I ran into this article from mysanantonio.com. And it was about the how unlicensed teachers outnumber licensed teachers among new hires in rural schools in Texas. And of course I had to go, why? I mean, and I will admit, I know some of you are from Texas, so I'm not trying to be offensive or political, but I wouldn't want to teach in Texas. For one thing, I wouldn't be able to collect Social Security if I teach there. For another, I don't like your weather. But anyway, I was very curious as to why. And I know that the teacher shortage is getting to be real. It is a problem. My school has been hit by it. Last year we hired 2 student teachers to be our math teachers, neither of whom are coming back. One of them quit in the middle of the year. We're desperate, so we had to do that. Now this year we have an actual, not experienced, she's new out of college, but we've hired a new from college math teacher, and we have an experienced math teacher, so they're going to share the department. We had the other science teacher leave. Nobody applied. There was actually a fear I was going to have to teach some of the math, and forget science electives then. And then our other science teacher left, and then there was that fear, the same fear we had last time when the science teacher left, that, oh my God, it's going to be just me. But we have a experienced science teacher. She doesn't have as many years of experience as me, but pretty good experience, who's coming back, who decided to come back into teaching. So we're set there. But, we have had to really work hard to find teachers. The science teacher that left was actually not a certified science teacher. She was a certified teacher and had to do coursework and testing to become a certified science teacher. Did a good job, so I'm glad of that. But, she's chosen to accept another position, and I'm not going to get into why. But it was August when we hired her, and we really didn't know if we were going to find a science teacher. And I know schools where they could not fill positions. I know of one school, they could not find a math teacher, so they got the neighboring school to teach over ITV, which is interactive television, to their students. Well, the other school didn't have the luxury in their schedule to say, okay, these hours you're going to teach on ITV. Oh no, you're going to teach your regular class here at our school and then teach over ITV to this other school. I am surprised there was no math opening at that school, or more math openings, but I talked to one of the math teachers and she told me she was teaching 47th graders at once. Some of them at her school and some of them over a television screen at this other school. There's schools that can't find English teachers, VOAG teachers, music teachers. We have an open elementary position with nobody interested in it. And people aren't going into teaching. When we had our science opening several years ago, I contacted, there was still a professor there who I knew. I contacted him and asked, if there'd be anybody interested in North Dakota. And he told me that the number of people going into the education program there, which is Pennsylvania, is a fraction of the number that were going into it when I was a student there. And I have some international pen pals, and several of them have kids or are associated with schools, and that's one thing they're worried about too, is that the teachers aren't coming in. They're having teacher shortages in other countries. So, excuse me, so that is the rabbit hole I went down. Tell you the honest truth, between working on yearbook, because I'm doing that still for school, and this rabbit hole and trying to get my garden ready, I totally forgot about pens in use and my pen review this week. So next week we'll be doing the pen review I was supposed to do this week, which will be a Parker Duofold. And hopefully I'll have a prepped garden so I can do an impromptu video about that for you. And hopefully we'll have yearbook mostly done except editing. And we're going to have to put the boys' golf pages together yet because we're waiting on what happens at state for them. But kind of an exciting yearbook this year with things we've never had to deal with before, because our boys' cross-country team won its... Talking too much. See, I don't do this in the summer, and my vocal cords are already on vacation. They're going, what the hell are you doing? You're not supposed to be using me this much. Our boys' cross-country team won at state for our class, because there's 2 classes for cross-country. For our class, for the 4th or 5th time in a row. And we had the fastest runner in the state in our class. Our girls won state cross country. We did not win with our basketball, but both our boys and girls teams went to state and didn't embarrass themselves, but didn't win at state, but that's okay. And then our track team, our boys track team and our girls track team both took first at state track. Our volleyball didn't make it to state, but what else? Girls volleyball didn't. Or sorry, girls golf. I already said volleyball. And our wrestling, we had some wrestled at state. You know, that sport's more, it's like Science Olympiad. It's kind of a strange combination of team and individual. And yeah, did I mention that our Science Olympiad team also qualified to go to state? We didn't win either, but there's only one class at state for Science Olympiad, so I'm just glad they got the experience. But anyway, we still waiting on the boys golf. But yeah, that's a lot of records and things that we've got to work into the yearbook, and I guess it's a good problem to have. But anyway, that's I'm going to close there because that's on a happy note. But I will do a driving video on that teacher shortage thing. I'm not sure when because it was a deep rabbit hole. But I'm hoping to have one out tomorrow on burnout. I probably won't live stream tomorrow, but I would like to get back into doing that this summer. I kind of fell off a cliff with that this winter, but fell off a cliff with a lot of things on video, so yeah. But we'll get back to doing some live streaming. And I guess if videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old and at all price points, I'd invite you to subscribe. And hey, do you know an elementary teacher who would just jump at the chance to come teach in rural North Dakota? Let me know. I will pass their information on to our elementary principal. Or pass the information on to you so you can get stuff to them so they can apply. But anyway, yeah, let us know. And yeah, now that I'm free of doing house payments, at least my lifestyle's not going to change, I was going to say. But it's a milestone, so yeah, do you celebrate milestones like that, or you just do like I did and say, oh, that feels good, and then that's that. So let us know down in the comments. So thank you for watching. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.